Hello. I would like to take this episode to talk about a topic that I haven't talked about before, but it's one that I know very, very well. For 16 years, long time, I co owned a medium sized managed services firm. I know the managed services area very well. And I wanted to talk about this topic. So, whether you're in a client organization or your organization provides managed services, I wanted to talk about this. There are three struggles for the managed service providers: pricing. How do we find the right pricing? There's a lot of competition, right? And how do we become and stay profitable? If you are familiar with this space, you know that there is a big push to be the race to the bottom on pricing. Everybody wants a cheaper price, better price, and this compresses margins and makes it difficult to hire, difficult to have security and the right tools. The other thing that this pricing struggles with is that if you are competing on price, which almost every managed service provider does, you all gain customers, you'll lose customers. So it's very difficult to maintain a certain model when you have so much uncertainty. And so this leads to many providers not having a clear visibility into their true service costs. What do they need? What is sustainable pricing? I'll tell you a story. So, a few years back, there was a large managed service provider in the ServiceNow space. And we flirted with each other. It never became a relationship, if you know what I mean. But they took on this very new, very large client, and they promised 5 to 10% lower prices in year two, thinking that they would gain that much efficiency. They were not able to, because when you promise that, let's take a step back. When you promise gaining 5% efficiency, are you not calling either the client or their previous provider idiots or not able to have that expertise? It's a bad look if you think about it from that point of view. So you have to be able to forecast demand, be able to build your model, and have enough clients. The market is saturated, which means that most managed service providers struggle to differentiate themselves besides, oh, we have this great, even though it's generic, monitoring and a great, even though it's generic, help desk. And so clients view managed service providers as interchangeable, which just increases the churn, right? It's all about price. And so this leads to long sales cycles. It's difficult to generate a differentiation between your provider and everyone else. And so it's very difficult for these managed service providers. And in fact, it's in this environment that I really cut my teeth and learned about asset management, service management, and how do we do things better. If you really want to know, the pressures on a managed service provider really do hone your skills, because you have to be that much better, a little bit better than the rest of your competition, right? And you have to do things well enough that your clients want to stay with you. And so it means that you have to be responsive 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 52 weeks a year, right? You have to have customized solutions, even though everybody sees you as generic. That's difficult, right? And you have to develop either some kind of special skill set or operating model that differentiates your organization from everyone else. And so it's difficult balancing quality versus cost versus efficiency. And so it becomes managing expectations. One day I'll tell about the stories from this time in my career. But those of you who are on the client side, push your providers into giving you very differentiated service. If you're on the service provider side, figure out how can I differentiate myself? And I'm setting up the punchline. We live in a time when AI is going to disrupt everything, and it's really going to disrupt the managed service providers. And so both sides, the client and the provider, have to make allowances to figure out what does this mean for our relationship. Because if you're on the client side, you outsource to this managed service provider, but you still owe these services to your in-house stakeholders as well as your external customers. This managed service provider is just an extension of your organization. So you have to help them be successful. This is Jeffrey T. Fertiller. Thank you for joining us today. Please let me know how I can help your organization. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Follow our LinkedIn company page at Service Management Leadership. And I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Bye.